Liebherr video for training on safety and lube points. Just kind of training on the video. We're going to start with a Caterpillar 725 off-road truck. This is what it kind of looks like, guys. And to start the vehicle, to kind of do the things like morning test, to get into the vehicle, you open this lid right here. And there is a little switch Nick has got going on there. And this lifts up, hydraulically lifts that lid. There's a switch he was going. And you'll see two switches in here. The one to the right is the hood lift. It goes up and goes down. You got to kind of pull it out a little bit. It just doesn't flip up and down. You got to kind of pull it out when you lift it up or down. And then the switch beside it is the safety kill switch. A lot of times if your vehicle doesn't start, someone has shut it off. And that's a good practice to get into. At the end of the day, shut it off, so if it's on a job site and it's sitting there, and just so no one tries to steal it or go for a joyride in it, if this is shut off, you will not be able to start the vehicle. And if you don't know these vehicles, you don't know it's there. So good practice to get into is to shut that main power off, and it's used for safety also. Okay, I guess while we're right over here, we'll just kind of show one of the filters here. This is one of the oil filters. Normally you don't have to ever mess with the oil filters. It's done by our maintenance crew. There's one of them right there, and we're going to go around and show you the checkpoints on the fluids of the vehicle here. So we're going to start with the radiator. Okay, we're going to do some more fluid stuff here, but we're not going to do the radiator quite yet. We're going to start right up front here. Here's the motor on the driver's side, and we're going to zoom in here. This part right here, zoom in on it, that is where you fill the oil. And to check the oil is this dipstick right back here. There is the fill the oil. I'll pan out so you can kind of see the overview of it and where it's actually positioned. And that's to check the motor oil, that dipstick right there. And then there's another dipstick right down here. This is the hydraulic oil dipstick to check that. Then you pan up here, it's kind of up high, but right there is the transmission one. And it's best to probably get up and check the transmission from the top, which you'd go over here to the side and climb up the ladder, walk over, and then check your fluids. And you could do that with all your fluids if you wanted from the top, or you can check some of them from the bottom. Probably the motor is the best to be checked from the bottom, and this other one down here is best from the bottom so you don't have to bend over. But this one up here on the transmission should be checked at the top. And right off to the side of that is the air filter. If the rig's running rough or just not running right, it's probably because your air filters could be clogged up with a little bit of debris and dust and stuff. So check that out. There's just clamps right there. There's a clamp, and there's one on the top, and there's another one off to the other side right there. So there's your clamps, and that pulls off, and there's a big filter in there. It's best, you can kind of tap them off, but the best way to do it is find an air compressor and blow them out properly. From the inside out is the best way to blow them out. So that's kind of, and there's a, this here is a fuel separator, fuel water separator. Right at the bottom down here is a little valve. If there's water in that globe, you can drain it by this valve right there where I'm getting right in there. That is where you drain it from, right there. And I think that covers everything right up front here.
That's how you, up top is how you put it in.
Okay, yep.
There's a dipstick in there for the hydraulic, and there's the eyesight gauge.
Okay,
So
like Nick just said, there's a dipstick right there for the hydraulic, And here's the sight gauge, so you don't have to lift the hood and stuff like that. There's a sight gauge right there. Zoom in on there. It should be on the level as much as you can be, and it should be warmed up. So when you get in the cold in the mornings, it may not be completely accurate. So you probably should let it warm up a little while before you confirm what you got in there for fluids. We're going to go around to the passenger side, and there is a cab filter over here. It is right there underneath the cat sign. There's two little wing nuts, one right there and one right on the other side. You take the wing nuts out, there is a filter in there. Do the same thing. You can shake it out, but sometimes that'll bend them, and then if you bend them, they ain't worth crap. So then you're going to have to, best thing to do is blow them out, and blow them from the inside out. And right up here is a fill cap. That is your fill cap for the fuel. And how to operate those caps are, you lift up this little trigger right here. Yeah, go ahead, Nick. Show them how to do that. Right there. That kind of lifts up, you pull it right off. There's really no even twisting into it. So, but sometimes them caps, you got to find there's little teeth inside there, and you got to make sure they're in the right grooves. Then you get to the point where you can put the clamp down, and always make sure it's fully clamped on there when you're done fueling. And here's another sight gauge right down here, and this is a fuel sight gauge, right?
Yep.
There's a fuel sight gauge right there. Back up a little bit. So you can kind of check that if your gauge is not going correct. Okay, we'll continue up from the filter there. Right off to the side of there is your emergency fire extinguisher right there. Okay, we're going to go to the grease points, and we just